Hey guys, John Bergman here. We're going to be talking in this series about how to really create a vision for your life. What is your life vision? What has God called you specifically to be about? Now remember, we're going to be using a book that isn't actually a Christian book per se, written by a Christian, Michael Hyatt, who has really helped me. So this is kind of a bit about my journey, and I hope my journey is going to help you. And there are 5 key things that we're going to go through, 5-week study. But the first one we're going to talk about today is having this issue. What Michael argues in his book is that we all have limiting beliefs. Let me read a quote here from page 43. So ask yourself, what's not in your world right now that could be, must be there? What's lacking that only you can remedy in your relationships, your health, your career, or your spiritual life? You see, I was reading in the scriptures this morning, and this week I've been in Philippians, and a passage that really hit me is this. It says, whatever happens, right? We're in the middle of coronavirus lockdown right now, right? Whatever happens, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. And I've been struck by, am I living worthily of the gospel of Christ? And frankly, there's times I've run away in this time, and I want to hide, and it's not been good. And the question that Hyatt is really getting at is, do you have these things called limiting beliefs? And what is a limiting belief? It's this. Something that limits our possibilities of the present, but that shortchanges our future. And my guess is that all of us, I do, have limiting beliefs, things that are not allowing us to take the next step in life, whatever that step is. And of course, in the context of us, we're talking spiritual, but I want you to realize that your life is a whole, right? There's the spiritual aspect. The most important part is if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, then you have resources. You have the resources of God behind you, and He will come beside you. But so often we're our own worst enemies, and we have limiting beliefs that get in the way. Now, one thing that he said that I thought was really powerful in the book, I don't know what page it was on, but he said when he works with his clients, he sees 2 primary limiting beliefs happening. Number 1 is we have no power over our circumstances. Do you believe that life is happening to you, or that you're intentionally living and taking charge, if you will? And the second one is this, that we lack the resources to make this happen. Guys, this is where I'm at so often. I think, I can't do this because of this, or I can even think in a certain context of some situations I'm in right now. I feel like I don't have the power. And so what are your limiting beliefs? The activity is for you to kind of identify what they are. And really, there's a great thing. I'll just summarize it. You don't have to necessarily pick up the book, of course. But so what are those? I mean, are you struggling with, you've got an addiction, right? And you have no power over it. All right? Or I can't solve this problem. Or, we're in the middle of COVID, and the financial hit is huge for a lot of people, and I know some of you guys are directly facing this. What can be done? So he makes kind of 5 points. He calls it upgrading your beliefs. And really the challenge, what we talk about when we get face-to-face, is what are your limiting beliefs? And then what can be done? And so he's got kind of a 5-step. This is on page 62. I'll jot it here. The first thing you need to do is to recognize them. What are they, right? The second one, he really thinks you should record them. So we've been doing the journal thing, right? So in the journal, start recording what you think they are. And this may take some time. This is not something that's going to come right to you. Maybe it will. I don't know. And then review them. So you've written them down, review them. And here's the tricky one right here. Reject them or reframe them. So maybe you believe that you aren't good at relationships. It's a limiting belief. There may be some truth to that. Okay? Or maybe it's completely not true and you can reject it. You may need to reframe it and say, I don't know, there's ways that you can reframe this in a way that says that there are ways that I can learn about this so I can become better at whatever it is that is really limiting me in life, right? And then you need to revise them, right? Actually, now this is something you do, you revise, you write it down. So you've got this sort of new belief, and then you have to basically start living it. He calls it reorient. Start living as if this matters. And sometimes this is the thing that you don't feel it, right? So maybe you have an addiction that you've struggled with, and you've now, I am no longer a whatever, right? And then you revise it, and then you have to start living it each and every day. And yet also live in the light of forgiveness and the gospel, and that God is behind you and for you, all this. And all of this, by the way, can't be done alone. It needs to be done in the context of a community of people to come around you, the believers in our group. And also to come around you is to realize that the ultimate resource is the Lord. And the Lord, He's got your back. You know, a verse that makes this kind of all jump out is in Philippians. I've been in Philippians lately, right here, right? It says, because of our partnership in the gospel from the first day till now, being confident of this is Paul writing to the Philippians, being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it out to completion. God has begun a good work in you. You wouldn't be in this course if He hasn't. And if maybe you don't feel like you're not a follower of Jesus, or you're not in that whole thing, I want to really encourage you that once God begins a work in you and does something, He will carry it out to completion. It's a promise that's made in the Scriptures. So what are your limiting beliefs? So what I want to do is to just kind of frame this, and I want you to then begin writing it out and begin thinking about that so that when we come together, we can have a conversation about it. We'll see you guys.